Judith doesn't have to be here, right? Because she's got trained already?
The majority of the stuff. There you go. This is more on me. There you go.
Taking a selfie?
No, I asked Javier for permission if I could actually go ahead and record myself. This is going to be more for my records.
Don't tag me. What are you doing? Who's recording himself? Because he's taking a selfie.
Do you have to sign exclusive list?
Yes. Privacy.
Privacy?
Yeah. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Francisco Zapata. As you already know a little bit of what I do, I was a marketing director for the entire state of Texas for Rodeo Dental. From there, I ended up opening up my own business, which is doing marketing for doctors, helping them out in different type of ways, and implementing different programs to go ahead and help out the office to go ahead and stay on track, and that way nobody loses control as to what they're doing. So we did. I would actually suggest that both of you could sit over here, so that way you can see properly on the screen.
Yeah, she's hurt. I get it,
No, you got it. You got it. All right, perfect. Okay, so one of the things. One of the biggest things that we deal with is calling people, and we usually tend to leave them a voicemail, right? But what happens? Which one of y'all listens to your voicemail?
Never, anybody.
I don't.
I have my voicemail and text, so I really don't
Yeah.
listen to it.
Okay, so,
Okay,
but
one
it's,
out of how many?
yeah, one out of how many? Exactly. So it's very rare. So what I have is a text messaging program. So after you're done calling the patient and they don't answer, send them a voicemail. So we actually already have that system in place, and it's something that's very easy. This link that you see in here, all of this that you see in here is actually going to be, it's already in every computer. Yesterday Javier installed it. It says doctors and more services. So it's right there. Let me go ahead and quickly pull it up again. Do you get to see it?
Can we do it here?
Yeah, go ahead and it's already there. All right, so the first one that you see in there would be the text now. Do you see that? Okay, so when you click right there, you see the password and then the username in the bottom. That's going to allow you to go ahead and send them a text message. So it's going to be, hey, this is Frank from the Tooth Place. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you a little template that I created. Now, this one, I am going to ask for everybody's help. The reason that I'm asking for everybody's help, because everybody has a different way of saying things. We're kind of coordinating something that's going to be in place of a copy and paste, and you just send it off. The only thing that you're truly going to edit is going to be the text, the question marks. Let me see if I could zoom in with this puppy here. Okay, so here it says, hi, this is question mark, question mark. It's been a while, and this is for Broken. It's been a while since we've seen you, and we'd love to make sure that you are up to date with your appointments and insurances and insurance requirements. I should put insurances and insurance requirements. When would be a good time to see you? So we could also put on, you could reply in text like here, please call or text back. Like this is for treatment. You have an appointment with us that is at high importance, and I am wanting to ask if you are going to be able to come in at question mark, the time and date. Please call or text. Now the beauty about this Text Now program is that it allows you to go ahead and, well, it actually has a signature. Do y'all know what a signature is? It has a signature in the bottom that says the Tooth Place and the official phone number from here. Now, anybody could actually text to this number. So that's the beauty of it, that you're going to be having that real-time response. Because the majority of the people are at work while the time that you're calling, right? So you're calling from 8 to 5, but the majority of the people are at work between 8 to 5. So at least here, you send them a text message, and you're able to go ahead and show them, hey, you know what, I did send you a message, or I did try to contact you. Because what do they say? No me hablaron. That's the usual. No me hablaron. It's like, and you're not going to go through the call log, you're not going to go through your call log, you know, you're just going to go based off your notes, but you could also just retract back the information from the text program. Like, you know what, here's where we sent you a text. So that way, that part is cleared out, and it avoids that tension between you and the patients. So that's one of the benefits. Remember, it's a text program, and then from there, we have the text template. With the text program, you're also able to go ahead and send pictures. but that's going to be more used toward with Judith. That section is going to be on the 3rd of 10th whenever they try to call new patients from the community events. So that's that section. Now, Javier and I, Javier really wants to go ahead and know what everybody is producing. And I'm sorry, I only have 30 minutes, right? So Javier really wants to know what everybody's producing. Right now, he's actually going through a bunch of paperwork trying to figure out what the numbers are, or I'm not sure exactly how he's doing it, but I know that it is causing him a little bit of stress on that. And I did go ahead and get together with him to find out exactly what it is that he needs. So here, this is a daily entry. I know that he said that he's giving it to somebody, right? Who is it that's...
Janie.
Nomás pon una mano. So, Janie, I know that it's usually your job to input what everybody did at the end of the day. Okay, so this actually makes it easy. They get to go in there, they click on the link, this puts up, this pulls up. Once this pulls up, they can do it themselves really quick. All they do is just select their name. Any new hires or anybody else, you could just select under other. Total appointments scheduled, total appointments made, total leads gathered, then time frames called or totaling call time. Like I only called for an hour, or all day I spent like from 11 in the morning up to 3 p.m. doing phone calls. And one of the other issues that we're having is that we weren't able to figure out who was calling what, or where did you end off at? What list did you call? Did you call the MCNA list? Did you call the broken roster? Where did you end off at? You know, or what list was called? So this helps us identify what has been done at a daily basis with a tracker, and it automatically converts into an Excel spreadsheet once we press submit. So it actually keeps a good track. So in case y'all ever need to know what got done 2 weeks ago, you can just immediately just scroll down to 2 weeks ago and find out exactly what got done. So here we got the NCNA, DentaQuest recall, and leads, and then other. Here, if you did the MCNA, you put in the total schedule that you scheduled from MCNA. Then from there, we have the MCNA details of calling structure notes. This one, the details of calling structure, that one's going to help you identify what date that you call. So you call the MCNA list, but from September, from last year. So at least you put that in. And then here, who was the last person that you called from the list? Because sometimes we go alphabetical order, right? So you just want to write down who was the last person that you spoke to. So that way, in case we ever need to retract back, we know that we can just go back and look for that last name of that person. So that really helps out in many different ways. And we have the MCNA when you got started and ended calling list. So where was it that you got started off? Because let's suppose that they tell you go ahead and call this list, but you had to start off in a different type of point because of whatever. So you get to input your notes as well. You get to put in details. So it's not just like by verbatim. No, put in your notes if you have to explain, because sometimes it takes explanation, right? Sometimes, and we don't want to take time away from Javier or from anybody else. Like, what did you do then? It's like, no, just explain right there to prevent from them having to spend their time from doing something else, where it's very self-explanatory. So that's the beauty about this, that you get to make your own notes to detail. One of the things that you do want to find out is who was it that you scheduled, so you just put in the patient IDs. If you want to put in the patient ID and the name of the person, that's perfectly fine as well. Same thing repeats itself with the DQ list, with the recall, and then as well, the lead section is for Judith. That's when she's calling, or whoever it is that you all have calling her list, that whenever she goes out to the community events. So that's what's gonna help her out as well. Or let's suppose that one of y'all make calls to that list. That's what's gonna help you out right here. So all of this gets retracted back to a form, to an Excel form, once you press submit. And then from there, Javier will be the one viewing it, or you would be the one viewing it as well. I'm not sure who else would be viewing it. So just make sure that you fall within that. So far, any questions within these two? It's kind of very self-explanatory once we go through the list. One of the things that I do understand, and this does happen to every practice that I go to, is like, oh my God, it's something different. It's like, oh my God, now above this. You know what? It becomes a process once after a while, but it does help the office stay in place. And as I stated, it also prevents tension. Like, what have you done? You know, it's like, here's my proof. this is what I've done. This is what I did. So it really does help out a lot. Calling list tracker. This one is the one that we ended up working out on. She really put a lot of you into her mind as to how everything's going to work out. And this one here is going to be what you actually called from that list. So if you're calling the MCNA or if you're calling MCNA, the DentaQuest or private insurance or the continuing care, right? That's another one. Continuing care. You submit here what it is that you called. Now, here within the within the private insurance, we know that we have multiple private insurances, right? So if you do have a private insurance that you selected out of that patient that you're calling, then from here you're just gonna put in the name of the private insurance. We didn't go above and beyond and putting in all the extensive list because it was going to consume a lot of time. But here, that way you just type in what is the name of the insurance that you're calling in from. Now, we need to find out what was the status of that person. So if you're calling in a broken list, it's going to be a no-show, or because they're a new patient that didn't show up. They called in to schedule an appointment, but yet they didn't show up, so we know that it's a new patient. So that way, whenever it's already in the system, it goes into an Excel spreadsheet and we get to filter. Let's go ahead and call everybody that's a new patient that didn't show up, because they showed some type of interest to go ahead and get started. So at least this gives you a good head start to go ahead and knock everybody down. And by that filter. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go ahead and get this fixed where it says name of patient. I placed it twice. So I'll just delete the top one. So patient name, patient ID. Then we have the date of birth. The date of birth was more for the insurances, as to my understanding. We put in 2 phone numbers. The reason I put in 2 phone numbers is because sometimes we go based off of the MCNA list, and the MCNA list has something different than what you have as well. So that's why it does help out to have 2 different contacts. Was appointment set? So yes or no. So that way we could immediately eliminate if the appointment was set. When was appointment set for? Date and time. So you're going to put that in there. Who set up appointment? So that way we know who was the one who set up the appointment immediately, and we get to go ahead and run that filter. Did you schedule anybody else from this family? Because we have actually had that situation where we call one person, but we schedule in like 3 or 4 appointments, right? So here, did you schedule anybody else from this family? Who did you schedule and when? Please update info and other patients list. So that way you type in everything that you need to type in here, where you go up to that patient and just update the information. And I'm also going to show you how the back end works, okay, on this. Now here, we have different attempts that we make. We usually go by first attempt, second attempt, third attempt. Now here, we're going to put in the first attempt date, then the time, and then first attempt notes. Place your name at the end of the notes, so that way we know who it is that called, because it's going to go again towards the second, because this will retract back to a back end. So it's just repetitive. You'll see right now what I'm talking about. Second attempt notes, I already said, place your name, and then from here, third attempt, and then from there, after the third attempt, we also have was text message sent. This is only for third attempt. So that way we know that we're not fully bombarding them with a text message immediately. We'll do it, once the third one, and Javier kind of wants us to go ahead and pull it off because we've already done 3 attempts. And not just that, it allows us to see on the back end of the Excel spreadsheet of what times we called, because we don't want to call exactly at the same time from yesterday. Then we know that they're not going to answer at that same time. So let me go ahead and show you really quick the back end. And here it says back end view. I'm just going to go ahead and click on that. They're going to go ahead and give everybody an email, just letting you know. They're going to provide everybody with an email, and on that email, it's going to give you rights to go ahead and do edits in here on this back end. So I'm going to make sure I give everybody the editing rights to this. So here, as we stated, it gives you a timestamp of when you submitted it, the name of the employee, and then let me go ahead and, okay. So name of the employee. We also have the status. There was a no-show or new patient name, patient ID, date of birth, phone number. Was appointment set? Yes. When was appointment set for? On March 7th at 3 p.m. Who set appointment? Then from here, did you schedule, and what does it say? Okay, did you schedule anybody else from this family? You already know that. You fill that up if needed. This section is did patients show up. This one is only if they did come in. So it's like, did they show up or not? And that's what Javier wants to go ahead and immediately pull up. So if they didn't, we get to immediately go ahead and run that filter. So he just wants to know if they did show up or not. And then here it's first attempt date, then first attempt time, then first attempt notes. So here, spoke to dad, made appointment for March 7th. And if you want to find out, like here, it doesn't say at what time they called because, well, it came in through the first stamp. But here, just remember that it does say it here. So it shouldn't match around the same time for the first appointment date. But then anytime after that, you do need to go ahead and fill it up manually in here through this Excel spreadsheet. So once you go through the Excel spreadsheet, it's going to go ahead and let you know. Now I'm going to go ahead and log in right now. That way I could show you the back end, but of the other section as to how you end up choosing your name. So that way you know that there's no confusion. So if you log in and then she logs in and then from there she's running one filter and then you're running another filter, it doesn't mix up. You're going to go in there, select your name. Once you select your name, then from there it's not going to mix